May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Puba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, preserving the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths crossed his, and anything else that comes to mind. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable and free from economic hardship and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the limitations of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. Today is Life in Bali Day, so that's anything else that comes to mind, and a respite from all that Zen nonsense. Before we get into our important topic for today, I'd like to make an announcement, and that is that Katrinka and I have decided to pack up shop and move back to America immediately. We're ceasing the construction here. We're already packing our bags. And if you believe that, you're an April Fool. Yes, today is April Fool's Day. Ha ha. And and it's also, see, she sent me congratulations St. Stupid's Day, because I used to love to go to the St. Stupid's Day parade on April 1st in San Francisco. Oh, God, was it cool. What a zoo. Just Google it, St. Stupid's Day. And there's a section on Cuke.com for it. So cool. Herb Gold, the writer, took me there first time. And I think the last time I was there, I did a little skit with Wavy Gravy. So a lot of fun. Saw Paul Krasner there once. Most of you won't know who Paul Krasner is. Or was. I don't know where he is now. He had a great publication called The Realist that I read when I was in high school. Ho ho, was it out there. It was so great. Anyway, check The Realist. I remember Paul Krasner and Stuart Brand were living together near the Zen Center for a while. Anyway, that was back in the early 70s. So that aside, the important announcement for today is today marks the second year of podcasting for Cuke Audio. April 1st last year was the first podcast. I think, I didn't check, but I think so. Either that or close to it. So now, one of the big changes will be when I write in the metadata, instead of writing season 1, I write season 2. So I'll write season 2, but then I'll continue the same sequence. I mean, what do I do? Like, this is like the 45th Life in Bali. So do I make it season 2, Life in Bali 1? I guess I could. There's a lot of important decisions to make in this work. I'll have to mull over that. All right, the first few podcasts in 2021, I still wrote 2020 in the metadata. Actually, I didn't write it. It automatically came up. I didn't change it. So, so many important things to keep track of in this vast project to preserve the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths crossed his, and anything else that comes to mind, which is like whether I write this is season 2, whether I continue the sequence of the others. I could, season 2, podcast 46, Life in Bali 46. Why not? I think I'll do that. Okay. So what's happening here is vaccines. And all of a sudden now, after all of us being cool and waiting for a year and everything, there's a frenzy of activity from people we know to get vaccines. more so from the bule, the foreigners, than the Indonesians who are waiting patiently for their turn. I don't know if I mentioned last week, but some of them are a little too santai or easygoing about it. I practically forced our landlord and his son to make sure they got it right away, especially our landlord who's older and is a very important person to a lot of us. And Nyoman, who's over 60, anybody over 60 is a higher priority here. Nyoman, who's like my assistant, I really want him to get it right away. Oh, I think it's interesting. I was reading in this COVID-19 report that comes out every day. This woman, Jackie Pomeroy, I think's her name, every day on Facebook. And it has all the statistics and reports, stuff that happened. Katrina said she's a Stanford researcher. Anyway, there was something, one of it, she said that, there were, what was it, that day I read it, like 3 days ago, it said there were 221 new cases that day in Bali. 221. If you multiply that by 80, Bali's like 4,200,000 or something. So you multiply that by 80, you get roughly the population of the United States, which would be like 17,000 or something cases in a day if it were America. But out of that 221 people, only one of them was a foreigner. And the government doesn't say they don't quite understand why so few foreigners have been getting positive. Well, one thing I could say from what I've noticed is we're a lot more uptight and we're taking a lot more precautions. And I'm around Indonesians a lot, and I'm really glad to be getting these shots. And I'm not out of the woods yet because, it's hard to keep your guard up when you're around them because they'll all wear masks and do what they're supposed to do. But then I just can't tell you the number of times I see them with their masks down to talking with each other and with me. And I just get tired of telling them to put their mask up and stuff. I just go, oh, they probably don't, anyway, so you got a couple of more months. I don't know. I'd say I've got a little while before I'm safe from all the contact I have with people. But anyway, now Katrina and I got ours yesterday, our first shot. And Yoman took us there, and he hasn't had his. But it's not because we have more money or we're foreigners or anything. It's because we live in Sanur, which is a green zone designated by the government. They started up, there were 3 green zones, Sanur, Ubud, and Nusa Dua. So I don't know what's happening with the others. But here in Sanur, which is part of Denpasar, the mayor of Denpasar said everybody is mandated to get one. I think I might have mentioned that too. So I can't remember. I don't know what I mentioned before. But I think that's humorous because you don't hear anybody complaining or anything. They probably know if they don't do it, nobody will notice. Although I'm not sure about that. Anyway, they've really made a push to get everybody vaccinated as well as possible. Now, this idea that if you get everybody in a particular area vaccinated, that makes that area safe is, well, yeah, of course it'll be safer, but you got to do everybody. You got to do everybody on the whole island. Then you got to do everybody that's coming in. To some extent, until you get to that magical figure that you should know somewhere between 70 and 80% for what they call herd immunity. Anyway, And like I said, there's a frenzy of activity. I can't tell you. I mean, we got all these friends. They're sending us emails and, well, mainly WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp. Like, we think it'll be available here and here, and here's what you need. Well, in our area, in our Blanjon, no, that's the name of our Banjar. In our Banjar, which is Blanjon, and I think many of the Banjars, you have to have what's called a surat domicili, a letter to show where you live. And, it's sort of a standard thing, but we got one when we first moved here, I think. I mean, our landlord got it. I think he told me he paid for it. But we don't get it. You never need it for anything. So anyway, I called up our agent. I sort of looked into it a little. Well, I wasn't going to do all that stuff. I called up our agent, and he said he'd get it for us. First he was going to help our landlord. Then he talked to our landlord. He said, never mind, I'll do it. So he starts, doing what, and I'm saying, hey man, they're doing it in our local community center. Anybody that comes there with that letter, they can get it. But that's going to stop on Wednesday. And I told him like that, 5 days ahead of time. So he's on rushing trying to get it. So finally he couldn't get it. I mean, he was going to get it later. Actually, we got it today. What's today? Thursday. But, in these WhatsApps we're getting, mainly Katrinka gets them, but I've gotten it to some of them. A woman said, they say, oh, you can go here, maybe you can get it. Or you can go to the Bali Mandara Hospital. People go, no, I tried, didn't work. So then we get a WhatsApp in the morning. Oh, yeah, Katrinka is staying at Alice's because of the construction that's going on in the house, thanks to the gift from a future guest, building a new guest room. And it's like banging all day long, which I love. And so Alice is, I did a podcast with her. She's head of the Lighthouse drug, alcohol, substance abuse program. So she has staff. One of her staff people's thinking, well, what they can do. And she found a place where we could all go. She was going to get tickets for us. I never heard of a ticket in the other one. And it doesn't have to be in your neighborhood, right? So it's all set up. We were all going to go. And then Wednesday morning, Katrinka sends me a WhatsApp and says, nah, we can't do it. You got to have, whatever the NIK number, which proves where you live, or you got to be in that neighborhood. For some reason we couldn't do it. Meanwhile, Sue sent a WhatsApp saying, hey, Bali Hyatt, which is very near here, Hyatt Regency, might not be called Bali Hyatt. The Hyatt Regency, the Sanur Hyatt Regency, is doing it for anybody in Sanur. So she said, I'm there. Let's see what happens with me. And so Katrinka and I plan and everything. We get Nomad to come. We're all ready. And while we're preparing to go, she sends us a message. Yeah, it worked. Get over here. So we get over there. Right. And Bali Hyatt is the swankest, luscious, plushest place in Sanur. When we moved here a little over 7 years ago, it shut down about them. And it made international news because, it was sad. One of the workers got killed by a python. There were two of them that picked one up, and the guy put it over his shoulders. It was big python, so not a good idea. And the other guy was afraid to help him, which he could have. Sad. Anyway, so it finally opened up like a year ago, and then had to close down right away. But it keeps opening up. It's amazing how much business it has and how giant it is. I mean, it's like half a kilometer, a third of a mile on the beach and on the road. And it's got these different sections and things. And you can walk through, and it's just these gorgeous gardens. I mean, how could they possibly have enough staff and money to set up all these buildings, all the fixing up all the buildings and everything they'd done, and all sorts of different types and beautiful. And God, it's like some sort of, it's like being in Louis the XIV's palace or something. So I've never gotten anything to eat or drink there, but I've walked through because it's great gardens. But anyway, so we enter. Oh, there's our neighbor's dog. So we enter. Nyoman drives us in his bimmo, which is like this old Volkswagen type thing with a Volkswagen bus with the sides off, and only poor people take those. But Katrinka and I use him for anything within 20 minutes or even 30 minutes of home, and which it raises some eyebrows and gets a few chuckles from people in certain situations. Because people will either be people that take taxis or they ride motor scooters or they have a car, which is rare. But I don't ride a motor scooter unless I absolutely have to, and I'd rather Katrinka does, but she will sometimes. You got to have a helmet to ride a motor scooter. You got to wear a mask, too, to ride a motor scooter. It's amazing. People, when the workers would be working, I don't make them wear masks while they're working, good Lord. But when they get on their motor scooter to drive away in the wind, they've got to put their mask on. So anyway, so we go in there, which is neat, and it's really big, but there was some people hanging out in a certain place, and the guy at the gate told him, or one of the guys at the gate, and they take your temperature and stuff before they let you in, frequently they look under the car with mirrors. They didn't do that. So he drops us off. I said, look, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. And go away. We could be hours and hours waiting. And I'll call you later. And we can even walk home from here if we feel. I was a little under the weather, a little tiny bit of a cold or something. So I said, probably we won't walk home. So we went in, and then we start, right away. Somebody guide, here, you go over there. We go, and there's this, I don't know, 75 people sitting, waiting, 100 people in chairs, and we hear names and numbers on a loudspeaker. And there's people mulling around all over, so maybe there's 150, 200 people waiting there. And then we're in a line that's not very long to go up to a table. We have what we need, which is copies of our quitas, which is our residency visa. That's all we needed there. We didn't even need copies of passport or anything. But you got to have a passport to get a quitas. So anyway, so they look at that and they say, well, do you have the NIK, the residency? No. They go, okay. And then a guy comes up and he says, can I help you? And they give us these papers to fill out. And he takes us over to a table. And he helps us. He guides us through filling out, these questions. It's all in Indonesian. I understood it. But I couldn't do anything as fast as him. And he made sure both of our forms were filled out right and took one of them and guided us to the next place where there was like another 100 people sitting in chairs. Very nice chairs. And there was all this staff there taking care of them. And it was a line sitting in the chair. So we went to the very back and sat in the very back chairs. And then right away, the person in front of you gets up and you move up. And then you'll sit there about 30 seconds or something and then move up to the next chair. It's sort of like a game, a party game or something. And then finally, they lead to A, B, C, D. There were 2 tables each, maybe about 8 different tables where there's people sitting there, and there's people before. There's a table before that where they take something from you and have you go to the chairs. Then No, that was after the chairs. They send you to another group of chairs, right, which is a shorter group of chairs, right? Then we go to the table where, they ask some more questions and look at some form or something. And then somebody guides us in to this big, big conference room, big, beautiful conference room where there's probably several hundred people all sitting in chairs. And there's tables there. And there's like people who look like nurses at the tables. And then you go to the first table. First, you sit down. We sat down, and then we wait till we can go to the first table. Not very long. None of these waits were long. Oh, they moved us ahead of that first group of a few hundred people because of our age. I'm 76 and she's 70, I think. No, I'm sorry. She's 73 or 4. No, she's 70. Maybe she's 74. 73. All right. So, so that was nice of them. And they ask you questions like, do you get tired when you walk? And you've got to fill out things, any problems you've got with your health. So anyway, we go to a table, and then they take our blood pressure. And after that, you go to another table where you get your shot. I mean, there's all these steps, but there's people guiding you. You don't have to even think. It's so efficient. I couldn't believe it. And then you get the shot. Then you go to another table. And I don't remember what happened there. Then they have you go sit in chairs. And they put a little sticker on my thumb, which marked the time. It just said 11:26. And it was like 56 minutes after 10 in the morning. So they want me to go sit for 30 minutes. All right. So I go sit. And Katrinka's behind me. And finally she catches up. And I'm sitting there a while, which is nice. Watching everything that's going on, it's just like this well-oiled machine, all these polite people. You know what they are? They're all young people out of work with the tourism business. And almost all of them spoke English. Not all of them. There was some Indonesian. I mean, I used some Indonesian, but mainly it was like very good English. So then, they call my name. I go up, they ask some questions or whatever. They fill out some things. And then I go back. And then they call my name again. And they give me a piece of paper that shows, it's a certificate that shows I've had the first shot. And it has the date on it of the next one. And you know when that is? May 26, almost 2 months away, which is all right, whatever they say. So anyway, then we had to go to another table. But we said, well, can we go to the toilet first? Yes, it's right over there. So we walked around this beautiful lawn, around the edge, and to the very nice, posh bathroom where you don't use your hands, Well, you can use your hands to pee if you're a man, but you don't use your hands for what you pee into. It just flushes automatically. Then you go up to the sink, the soap wasn't automatic. You push something with it, but you put your hands under the sink, and that's automatic. You know what I think of when I'm in places like that? Maintenance, breaking down, and I think, well, this is going to be an interesting ruin. I'm just going over it. This is my earplugs, so not a very good mic. But I thought that was really an important comment to make. Then we come back to those tables. Oh, and there's one thing we had to do beforehand was our iPhones, our smartphones had to read a, what are those things called? Those, those little squares with all the stuff. It's like a modern barcode. I can't remember what it's called. Oh yes, QR code. Thank you, Google. And so I had to take a picture of the QR code with my iPhone, and then hit something, and bang, this questionnaire came up, another one in my iPhone, and I have just a few questions I have to answer it, right? So when we're all through, you got another one of those. They have these chairs, and on the back of the chairs are this barcode, and you hold your phone up to it and take a picture, and then the form comes back, and you fill out that you've done it all or whatever, and so then they say we can go. I mean, how many tables and steps were there and all that? But the impression was incredible efficiency and like just nobody complaining, no problem, everything smooth as silk. Now, I think because it was the Bali Hyatt and because we're in Sanur, we got a much better deal than a lot of other people. But man, it was a pretty nice experience. And then we went, Mom picked us up, and we get in the bimbo, and we say, oh, let's eat out, I mean, Katrinka's staying with Alice. She's not even staying at the house because of this work. And we're tired and everything, and it's like by now it's, it's noon or something. Let's eat. And we go, hey, let's go to Joshi's. It's this really good Japanese restaurant, and they have a bento that's $50,000. That is so good. That's $3.50, and it includes miso soup and green tea. So now we could have easily walked there. I mean, it's really like 50 yards away, but so it was a very short ride. And so we say, hey, all right, call you when it's over. So we had a lovely lunch there, and it's such a relief to get the first shot. Unless you're somebody that believes all the disinformation there is around. Ugh. So irritating. It's to me, I just think it's sent out by people that want to destabilize us. All right, so anyway. So we go home. I go home. I said I had a little bit of a cold and I was a little lethargic to begin with. But so I don't know what came from the shot and what came from that. But I went home and slept for 2 hours. Now, I don't think I would have done that unless I'd had the shot. And I get up, and, Katrinka went away. And she went back to Alice's. And, I stay up and do things till 10. I get everything done I want to get done. And then I don't watch anything, entertainment, if she's not here. But I said, oh my God, I'm so tired, and I don't want to go. I can't do anything. I don't want to go to sleep yet. So we watched an episode of Apple TV's morning show. God, is it good. I love it. And I don't comment on media here. Everybody else does that. But anyway, I'm really enjoying it. So we did that together because I said, well, I won't watch it unless I can watch it with you. So let's watch this episode at the same time. And isn't that romantic? So I did that. We did that. And then I went to sleep. And, I just sleep with the fan on. And I slept almost 8 hours. That was great. Got up. I still felt the same way, like sort of lethargic. And I had some things to do, like get hot water for the workers ready so they can have their coffee. I forgot to check the sugar. I checked it this evening. It was empty. So I filled that. They go through so much sugar, I can't keep up. They need a 55-gallon drum of it there with a spigot. We don't even buy white sugar. But there's a sort of brown sugar, what they call brown sugar, that we get too. And it's sort of off-white. But anyway, they just make coffee and sugar and water. And we have a whole water filter there that we got just for this job that goes through, it's like 3 gallons. And it makes pure drinking water out of city water. And we haven't bought water in 7 years. Man, I can't believe the number of people, including Indonesians, that buy water. It's just totally unnecessary. Anyway, I got up and did that and unlocked the gate and turned off the light. And then I went back upstairs. I'm down there outside sitting on on the Bali on a couch up there on a settee when they come saying hello. But I just went back upstairs. And I pretty much spent all day on the bed working, except I had to get up and down all the time for things that were happening, which was fine. I was just a little tired. Made some oatmeal, and I threw, oh, God. I had these bananas that were just getting black, just totally black. They're green bananas, really good. That's my favorite type, is the green. But there's a type of green one is my very favorite, and this isn't that. This is another type of green. They don't get yellow. They go from green to black. And sometimes they can be completely black, and they're still not all mushy and everything. But one of them was sort of like that. And then I took 3 of them and just fried them a little and mixed in with the oatmeal at the end. And I find if you fry the banana, that takes care of it. You know, a lot of it's just visual. It sort of looks yucky, you know. It gets a little gross, you know, trying to peel one is just falling apart. It's all this mush in it. But really, it's all good. It's all edible. And put in a bunch of roasted nuts in it. God, was that good. But I had that later. I don't eat until I've been up for a few hours. So anyway, hey, I did one thing. So I thought, I said, Katrinka, you didn't take anything when you left to go back to Alice's. There's coconut water for you here. There's almond cashew milk, which we make here for you. There's fruit, you know, that's been cut up. All this stuff you're supposed to take. Oh, I forgot, you know, I was sorry. All right. So today, I think, all right, I'll send her the coconut milk. And I could just call Neil Money, come over in his motorbike and deliver it. But I thought of something more dramatic. I called up this really nice flower place and had this gigantic bouquet of flowers. And she used to be in the flower business. And you can't do something like that in America unless you really want to fork out a lot of money. So they delivered this giant bouquet of flowers to her. And, well, not giant, nice, good size. And the almond cashew milk. And she was so touched. But then I realized, oh, my God, I forgot to include the fruit. And she said she didn't have any fruit there because Alice doesn't make anything at home. I mean, Katrinka's really into cooking, but Alice doesn't make anything. It's all that they have a cook. The program has a cook, and he lives in another place. Well, he has a kitchen that's separate, and he makes the meals, you know. And so she wanted some fruit. So I forgot. So I did. And then I called up Neil, and I had already seen him because he was bringing in the glass for the work that's going on. In fact, he came in twice. He came in with the ceramic tiles for the floor. I called him, hey, Neil, man, would you come over here on your motorbike and bring something to Katrinka? So he did. And then I gave him, I said, here, it's $50,000. He said, no, you've given me too much. You don't give me more. Can you believe that? I said, it's for your grandchildren. He went, all right. So anyway, Katrinka's all stoked. A lot of points there. And meanwhile, there's other things happening with the work that are very, very promising and positive. But I can't go into that. This has just gone on long enough with just nothing. Just telling, I mean, I could have just come on and said, we got our first shot today. It was a good day. Really. But this is what you get. And I'll spare you all the other things that come to mind. I can tell you other things about people, all the things people are going through to get their shots right now, you know, not wanting to wait. Because they have these programs that go on for a week. And then to get in, there's these different requirements. And a lot of people don't have the requirements, so they're looking for another way. And sending messages back and forth. So that's life in Bali. That's what it's like living here. Yeah. And one other thing is our visa agent came in today with the, what's it called? KPTT which has the NIK, the Surat Domicili, the letter of residence, and also the paper that proves we live here and everything. It's good for 1 year. We never get one, but we got it. But it came too late to use to go to the local bonjar to get our shot. And it was like $95 or something like that, $92. But now we've got it. If we need it to prove anything, the rest for a year. Oh, I know something to say. Is the vaccine that we got is AstraZeneca. And I was really happy to get that because I thought we were going to get Sinovac. Now, I would have taken whatever we could get because that is the best advice, clearly. But AstraZeneca is much better than Sinovac from what I've read. Now, I'm not worried about the stuff you read about in Europe. And the other thing is that it's all free, all of it. The government pays for it. Now, you can go, or you will be able to go. I think you can get some private now. I don't know for sure, but you will be able to. And I think you'll be able to get Moderna privately. But best advice, do not wait. So we didn't. And we really wanted Moderna. But no. And many other things have transpired, but that's it. And this has been Life in Bali. Without a guest. I apologize. Just don't have time for a guest. Too busy. I'm DC Booba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from sleepy Sanur, which isn't going to be sleepy that much longer. They want to build it up like Seminyak. Anyway, but I don't know. It'll take them years, maybe decades to do that. And by then, civilization will have collapsed. Anyway, with Doggett Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear, lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.